Real Housewives of Atlanta season 15 episode 17. This is part 1 of the reunion. Instead of being like a full blow by blow detailed review, I'm just going to talk about the main takeaways that I had because it is late enough on a Monday evening and I really need to go to bed. They brought up Martell, Sheree's fake boyfriend, and Sheree basically said that Martell was always very respectful to her, but she had to pull back because it was just a whole lot of mess and a whole lot of noise. And I love how Kenya brought up the revenge porn situation with him and Melody, because for anyone that doesn't watch Love and Marriage Huntsville, Melody basically made a live not too long ago saying that Martell's baby mother, the side chick he had while he was married to Melody, who he was sleeping with and ended up getting her pregnant, she actually told, I don't know if it's a mutual friend or just some girl that Melody happened to run into that felt bad and told her, but essentially she told a good friend of hers that Martell asked her to make a fake profile and post a video, I believe, of Melody giving him head, and she said no. So I guess she draws the line somewhere. If you guys are familiar with this girl, she's a bird. But I guess even she has her limits because she didn't do it. And that sounds like the exact type of bitch-made thing that Martell would do. So I absolutely believe that. And I don't think the baby mother has come out and disputed that either, which will tell you everything you need to know, because she hates Melody. And she never resists a chance to troll her and just get at her for the sake of attaching herself to her name because she's not relevant without mentioning Melody. So I 100% believe that. And Melody said she actually has proof as well. I guess her lawyer looked into it and found something. So that's a whole ongoing situation with them. So that's what Kenya was referencing. And I just love how dedicated Kenya is to making sure that as an audience, everybody understands that Martell ain't shit. Kenya's divorce is not final yet, believe it or not. Marc has just recently filed contempt charges against her. So he's basically trying to accuse Kenya, most likely falsely, of keeping him away from Brooklyn. He's also citing that Kenya put Brooklyn in an unsafe situation, referencing the scene where Marlo was banging the door and Brooklyn was in the room at the time. That is so pathetic, and I'm no lawyer, but to me it sounds like an obvious stalling tactic. I think that would be very difficult for Marc to prove in court that that means that Kenya put her in an unsafe situation. At the end of the day, Kenya always travels with her babysitter, I'm sure. It's a whole production team there. Like, there was never any question that anything dangerous or unsafe was going to happen to her just because Marlo was banging the door like that. So to me, it just sounds like a really stupid stalling tactic. And if he plays games like this all the time, no wonder she's not divorced yet. Kenya then hands Marlo a subpoena and says that she has to appear in court because this whole situation has got brought up in court now. And the subpoena is blank. How embarrassing. She's actually posted a copy of the subpoena since. Now, according to the online streets, it looks like this subpoena is either fake or the lawyer who signed it doesn't know what they're doing, because it's addressed to the same lawyer that drafted the subpoena in the first place, and there's no way that the lawyer could be representing both sides because there'll be a clear conflict of interest. So it sounds like Kenya might be up to her old tricks again when it comes to bringing fake storylines on the show, but who's surprised? She had nothing else to talk about this season apart from Kenya hair care, and that didn't even make it to the show. But Kenya also went on to say that Marlo's phone number has been discovered in Marc's phone records from a couple years ago, and she couldn't actually read what the text message she sent to him said, but she asked Marc, and apparently he said that Marlo called to get dirt on her. Now, whether or not it's true, I don't know, but I did notice that Marlo said, "I don't remember texting Marc." So when she said that, it made me think that there was at least a time where you were thinking about it, or it's plausible that you could have a couple years ago and you just forgot, or you're just saying that because you're lying, but just in case you get caught, you're just gonna say, "I don't remember," later. Andy asked Sheree about Martell not paying for her birthday dinner, and he went on to say something along the lines of, "You have a very interesting relationship with bills." The shade. Andy sometimes is really needed. I've had my moments where I really wasn't feeling him, but I can't lie, he knows what he's doing when it comes to a Housewives reunion, because that was hilarious. She says that she's never had anybody take her to court for unpaid bills. Note that she did not say that she pays bills. I would just like to point that out. She said, nobody has ever taken me to court for unpaid bills. So what that tells me is that for the most part, she really doesn't pay anybody until it looks like someone's about to get their lawyer involved and take them to court, and maybe then she'll pay those people. That's what it sounded like to me. But yeah, she said nobody's ever tried to sue her for stealing an idea either. Hi, Johnny. Random as fuck. Why are you bringing up like, is that the best you could do? Really, Sheree? Then her and Kandi get into it. There's a whole lot of stuttering, a whole lot of reads that I felt like I'm sure sounded nice in their head, but when they said it out loud, it just fell flat. And I was really confused off of this moment. I was wondering whether this was some skit that they put together and then acted out very badly, or whether production just dropped the ball massively here and weren't as on point as they are with the editing usually, because I'm sure that happens very often in a Housewives reunion. The timing is too impeccable, it's too clever, it's too quick all the time. Like, you can imagine, especially when you remember that they film these all day, it definitely doesn't go down like that in real life. It's definitely a good use of editing, mixed with, you know, the girls rehearsing their reads at home. So to me, I think it's likely that we saw a more realistic version of how these things usually go in the reunion. But yeah, it just hit weird for me. Like, I really couldn't figure out whether or not it was genuine coming from either of them or not. Sheree gets up and starts walking around the room embarrassing herself like her dress isn't ugly as fuck. How do I look now, bitch? How do I look now? Babes, honestly, you don't look as bad as you look, like Kandi said. Much better, but not good, is what I thought. Your dress is ugly, and honestly, now I'm looking at your face properly, I can tell you've had quite a bit of work done. We just haven't clocked you until now, because maybe now, it could just be me. I'm sure other people have noticed. I don't tend to be that observant where it comes to plastic surgery and what looks obvious all the time and what doesn't. Sometimes, obviously, it was very, like, it was a BBL, you can usually tell. But for the most part, if you've got a good doctor, I might not necessarily tell if you've had a lot of work done. But I was looking in Sheree's face and I was like, yeah, this is definitely not your first rodeo. And so when you couple that up with the dress, I was just like, girl, I guess you've looked way better in the past, but fine. And then when she kept saying big face, little face, I was with Andy. What does that mean? Like, sit down, Sheree. Kandi brought up Sheree not paying the She by Sheree fashion designer, which is why the majority of the clothes that she was modeling in her line that day didn't end up on the website, which was the entire reason why she was saying anything about She by Sheree in the first place. And she was not the only one. We were all making that observation. We were all very confused as to why it looked like pretty cute stuff when you were modeling, like, not high end, but, you know, expensive shit that you can get away with selling for a few $100s for sure, to this Shein bullshit that you're trying to attach the same prices to, but they look like bottom of the barrel scraps. Shout out to C China. So when this is all brought up, this is when Sheree brings out the SheNews, this fake tabloid that Sheree put together because she's sad as fuck, that is basically a whole collation of really bad reviews of Kandi's restaurants. And then in the back, she's got like a side-by-side of a few different outfits. Like, one is She by Sheree, and what was it, Shein? Was it Shein? I think one was Shein, and the other was Kandi's clothing shop tags. It took me a minute to figure out what Sheree was even trying to imply by putting the clothes in there. But then I realized she's trying to basically say you're a hypocrite because you're saying that I am selling Shein clothes for a higher price, but you're doing the same thing, kind of thing. But like Kandi said, I never made out that I was selling original high-end, you know, close to couture type of clothes. You were always supposed to, it was always supposed to be like fashions. Like, it was marketed as like a premium clothing brand. So when you now start selling Shein stuff, you look stupid. And it looks like there's clearly been some big mistake or some huge change in what you were hoping to achieve, but you're just not being honest about it. You're just trying to act like we don't see what we're seeing. Which is why she got salty at Kandi bringing it up. And that's why she attached the reviews by basically saying, hey, look at all this shit that's going on with your businesses, but I never talked about it until now. I've said it time and time again that Sheree is not Kandi's real friend, because who does this? Who really takes the time out of their day to do this bullshit? She really took the time to look for bad reviews of Kandi's restaurants, pictures of her clothes that look slightly similar to some outfits that she's seen on Shein's website, put them all together, threw it in a Canva template, went to a photocopy shop and made several copies of this stupid fake tabloid just to pass out at the reunion as some gotcha moment to Kandi. Like, you're so sad, bitch. Like, it was so pathetic. I was with Kandi. Hating Ass Her News would have been a better title. And also, I thought this dumb tabloid thing was going to include the receipts that she produces later of Drew and Ty. So I thought that that's what they meant when Andy said this was like the shadiest prop ever brought to a reunion. I really had my hopes high. And that, again, fell flat because I was just like, I'm sorry. This just made Sheree look desperate and like a pathetic hater. Like, it was such a bad look, in my opinion. It was not the moment that she thought it was. Moving on to Latoya and Drew's kiss. So Andy asked Kandi, that sounds weird, Andy asked Kandi how she felt about Drew saying that she lied about kissing Latoya. And Kandi said, I'm obviously very angry that she called me a liar several times. Then Drew asked her, why did you say in 2021 that you could have misjudged the situation and maybe you were wrong? Why did you say that if you're now insistent on the fact that you didn't see wrong and I'm a liar? Kandi said that she was trying to be a friend and she thought because Drew was going so hard about the fact that she didn't kiss her, and she said maybe it's because she was married, so she pulled back a little bit and decided to say, cool, maybe I was wrong. And this is exactly why I have an issue with this whole Drew Latoya thing and these moments on Housewives. Kandi, you now have admitted yourself that when the whole thing was brought up initially, Drew was very strangely defensive about it, to the point where she was denying it, and she was going very hard about it, which is why you decided to pull back in the first place. So then now, why are you bringing it up again in 2023 and not expecting her to lie about it? It doesn't make any sense, because I said this originally when this whole thing came up on TikTok. I don't understand why Drew needs to tell us this. Fair enough, for the sake of a reality show, of course it will be more entertaining if she just admitted to it and we get a juicy story. But that does not always happen. Unfortunately, these things do not always work in our favour. And when it's about somebody's sexual encounter with someone, especially one that took place off camera, I really don't understand why Drew needs to divulge information that she clearly doesn't feel comfortable doing so. Like, I just don't think it's that deep. We don't need to know that she hooked up with Latoya or that she kissed Latoya. Like, I really don't understand why Kandi brought it up knowing that Drew probably was going to lie about it. And then when she lied about it, she got upset that she was being called a liar. That makes no sense. And let's say I even thought that Drew lying about this was a big deal, like most people seem to. Kandi still brought it on herself by bringing it up again in 2023 because she knew that when it was brought up before, Drew lied about it. So what did she think was going to be different this time? You purposely walked into a situation where you knew you'd be called a liar, in my opinion. That's your business. Drew brought up Kandi saying that she thought she was lying about her sister's mental health, and that she didn't realize until she was telling her story, like, oh, it is true. And it's because Drew's been known to lie before. Now, first, this came up with her speak on it with Courtney. And I didn't get to make a TikTok about it because I was really busy on that day. But I really did not like the way Kandi and Courtney were speaking on Drew's sister. I thought it was really inappropriate. It sounded hella ignorant. I don't even understand why you would say that out loud. Hey, I thought your sister was lying about her mental health. But it turns out I was wrong. She wasn't. Why would you tell anybody that? Like, just keep that to yourself. Because now that you've realized that she wasn't lying, why is that something that you feel you should share? It's very stupid, and I feel like it's a very careless comment to make about someone who has been vulnerable enough to share their journey about their mental health on television. And to say that to her sister, I just don't really understand what you expected, if not negativity, off of the back of that. Also, her saying that it's because Drew has been known to lie about certain things, I'm not really understanding why Drew is getting the reputation as the liar in this group. Not that she doesn't lie, she does lie, but her lies are very stupid. They're more fibs or white lies. Like, she says stuff like, you know, about how she doesn't say the word shooting because she comes from Chicago, or about kissing Latoya, or about, you know, she even mentioned herself about how much weight she's lost. So, stuff like that. Those things are not a big deal. I don't really care that she lies about those things. It really just doesn't bother me as much as it seems to bother everybody else, number one. And number two, I'm sure all of them have been less than honest about some of the things that they've said and done on camera. And this is what really confused me about Drew being branded as the liar in the group. Because I'm sure they have all told just as many lies. So many of them lie. Like, look at Sheree. Sheree lies about everything. Nobody really brands her as a liar though, like the fans do, but she's not known as a liar amongst the group, even though I don't think anybody lies more than Sheree. Kenya lied a couple times this episode, if people are telling the truth about the subpoena, that's one. And also when Andy asked about why Roy wasn't really present during the season, and she said it was because of Marlo's comments after he saw the super teaser, he just didn't want to come around them, and Andy was like, but we'd already been wrapped up by then, so what do you mean? Why did he really not want to come around Kenya? Like, the difference is that Kenya is better, like, she's very skilled. I've rewatched Housewives a couple times. So when she's caught out, she knows how to kind of wade out of it and act like, no, like she's very quick thinking. So she knows how to kind of weasel out of a little tight spot when it seems like she's been caught in a lie. But she lies a lot too. She's been known to have fake storylines, bringing fake boyfriends and the like on the show. So I just don't really understand why Drew is holding this title by herself when I think they should all be sharing the crown. That's just my thing. I think that Drew's problem is that she's not a good liar because she doesn't keep her lies straight, number one, because she said that she didn't kiss a girl at one point and then she decided to change her mind and say that she has kissed a girl before. So it's like, you gotta pick one, baby girl. So that's number one. And number two, she tells stupid lies. So it becomes very obvious that you're lying because you sound ridiculous. Like when she said the thing about, I don't say shoot because I'm from Chicago. Girl, shut up. And I think they all know that they're dragging it because when Drew asked several times, what have I lied about? Nobody had an answer, and the only thing they could give was the thing about her lying that she kissed a girl. We already knew she lied, but again, I don't really think she has to tell us that if she doesn't want to. It's really not a big deal. People lie about who they sleep with all the time. I feel like it's only a big deal to lie on people that you slept with or had, you know, any kind of sexual encounters with on TV or something. Like they make out like it's something that's like you're a liar. When in real life, it just means I don't want to tell you. Like, I just find that so strange. Kandi said that she thinks it's actually Drew that's been gaslighting Ralph and not the other way around like they initially thought. And not only is that a low blow, the reasoning behind it is ridiculous and doesn't even make any sense. The fact that Drew lied to you about kissing Latoya does not have any bearing on the reality of what went on in her relationship with Ralph. You literally have no idea who was lying in which scenario, who was gaslighting who in which scenario. Like, you literally have no idea. At the end of the day, what we know is that in most cases in life, there's one person's side, the other person's side, and a truth in the middle somewhere. And I'm sure there are moments that Drew lied to Ralph in the course of their marriage. But let's stop trying to act like Ralph is innocent, because at the end of the day, we know that that nigga is not. So I don't understand why anybody's trying to make a point now that it could be Drew that's actually the guilty party. That just sounds stupid to me because we've seen so many clear signs that Ralph is a bad person all on his own accord. So now trying to flip it and act like Drew has to be the villain in this situation with her marriage simply because she lied about the Latoya thing, it's just ridiculous to me. I think she just said that to hurt Drew. And I'm genuinely quite confused as to why Kandi seems so angry at Drew where it comes to this Latoya stuff. Like, even the whole thing with Courtney and the conversation they were having about her sister's mental health, it really felt like she was doing that whole kiki with Courtney in the first place purely to spite Drew. And I just really don't feel like anything that transpired between them is that serious. Like, I'm really confused as to why she's so upset. It's just very odd. Who are the broke, jealous, pretty girls that Marlo was referring to? The ones who needed to get their money up, according to Sheree. Because I know they couldn't have been talking about Kandi and Monietta. Surely not. Not Marlo and Sheree. That's funny. Anyway, they brought Monietta and Courtney to the sofa. Thirsty ass Courtney. I'm sorry, but Courtney is most definitely Ralph's side bitch. Nobody can tell me any different because the way that she describes their relationship whenever she's asked, fast and furious cousins, ugh. And then when I think about this comment and then the one she made on Kandi Speak on it, that when she said, I've been a better friend to Ralph than Drew has been a wife all these years. How is that not side bitch talk? It's almost like she's trying to mark her territory whenever she speaks about him. It's really weird, especially when, according to you, you just met this man. Like, why are you so impassioned by his relationship with Drew? Like, to the point where you're inserting yourself in it like you know everything that's going on or something. Like, you didn't just meet him, number one, and like there isn't a whole other side to this story that you haven't heard. You can't say that you know it all just because you've heard one person's perspective. And whenever she speaks like this, it's like her only purpose of doing it is to piss Drew off. And being so motivated to make somebody's wife mad, surely you have to be fucking her man. Because what else would the reason be for this weird behavior? So they end it by bringing up what Courtney said when she thought the cameras weren't rolling. The comment where she said, oh, that's why you want him to adopt your child, so you could run off with your lesbian lover and he can pay your bills, right? Firstly, who is anybody to make a statement like that when you are not in their household, you are not in their family, and you are not in their marriage? So you literally look ridiculous as fuck, and you are completely overstepping your boundaries in the most massive way to ever open your mouth to say something like that about somebody's household just because you've had a few little cozy chats with her husband. Like, crazy that you feel emboldened to make a statement like that. Secondly, and this was the kicker for me, and it's literally what Drew spoke to when she said he's going to see this. That was why that really didn't sit well with me, what Courtney said. Because Josiah is getting close to a good 12 to 13 years old, judging by the last time we saw him. I'm pretty sure that little boy would be almost 13 by now if I was to look him up, if not older. So he is going to see stuff like this. And for you to put out a narrative that this man that was this close to adopting this little boy after his own father didn't want to be in his life like that, that is so disgusting. For you to put a narrative out there like that, for a child to feel like he wasn't really wanted by the man that he considered a father, because at the end of the day he doesn't see his own dad, and that is his mum's husband. Like, to me, the fact that Courtney could not even just say, you know what, I was wrong for that, maybe I shouldn't have gone that far, she's really disgusting to me. Like, I can't believe that you can make a comment like that and know that little boy could be hurt by it, and you double down and you gaslight and you act and you start shrieking and you act like what you said wasn't the big deal when it really was. Like, it's just so crazy to me. Oh look, another lie. It's Courtney's turn to lie now. She said that she knew that the camera's rolling. Bitch, shut up. No, you didn't. Because when they asked you about it the first time, you lied and said that you didn't know what they were talking about. And then, clearly a hot mic moment, you started talking your real shit when you thought that they'd stopped taping. Stop trying to save yourself. You look ridiculous. Drew calling her unverifiable took me out, because that's literally what she is. Unverifiable with her fast and furious self. Anyway, that's about what I think. Judging by the clip of the next episode they played at the end, I feel like we've probably seen the best of it, to be honest. Although I do feel like Courtney is going to get her ass handed to her at the start of the next episode, and I'm very much looking forward to it, because the way Andy was like, no, you did. You did say that. You did say that, bitch. We can roll the tape again if you want to. You definitely did say that. So, and to be honest, I just feel like anyone that tries to act like what Courtney said wasn't a big deal, I feel like they're not really looking at it properly, and they're just looking at it from a place of, we don't like Drew, because like, that's not cool that that little boy might get to hear those words. I just really don't agree with that, and I don't feel like that's okay. Anywho, I hope you guys enjoyed my review. Comment down below and let me know what you thought of the review or the show. You can also ask me about anything that I might have not mentioned as well, because I did just do the highlights, although at this point I probably covered most things in the show. But yeah, just, you know, comment down below, and also remember to subscribe to my channel for more reviews. You can also follow me on all socials, Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, at IamHannahOJ. Until then, see you guys later.